loves. So I am back and I've had a lot of mixed moods today, and um, I want to do live use an app that I oftentimes use to help when I am in the not greatest of moods. And it helps me to process through what I'm feeling, you know, why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, or why I'm experiencing certain emotions that I'm experiencing, and how to move through my emotions versus ignore them. Part of the reason that I'm feeling where I am now is that a coping tool that I use is not a healthy one, is that I like to go out to eat because it brings joy and excitement for, oh, I don't know what I'm going to eat. And even though choices overwhelm me, I just get excited going out to eat. So wasn't able to hide behind going out to eat that I don't feel great right now. So I am going to do a walkthrough of an app that I use called Moodnotes. So Moodnotes, it is I don't believe it's free, but I believe it's relatively low cost. I think it's like $5 for the app or something like that. You have to look it up in the app store. But it essentially is a pocket therapist. It walks you through some questions that you can ask yourself about the way you feel, and really being honest with yourself about why you feel that way. So let's start. And just for transparency, I am not going to divulge all the details of why I don't feel so great because some of them are personal. Um, but I will demonstrate the app using some summaries of those things. So first, how are you? You get to choose your mood using, you either swipe up or down to indicate how how your feeling can best be represented in pictures. So I'm not necessarily the middle of the road. I'm a little bit less than that. I would say probably two swipes down. Not the worst place I can be. Not there. Yeah, I would probably say in between those last two. And if you want to, you could quick save from here and just make note of how you feel, or you can add detail. I always like to add detail because I like to have language and understanding behind what's happening. So the first step of mood notes, which for me is one of the most powerful steps, is to ask what is happening at the moment. What is going on that may be contributing to your mood? Now, a key thing about this question is at the moment, at this current moment, what's happening? 9 times out of 10, when I'm doing this app, there's nothing physically wrong, nothing urgent, nothing's truly happening. It's all in my head. And in writing the language of my mood and what is happening at the moment, I can say that I am experiencing blah 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 emotions versus I am blank. Right? So it's not like I am upset. It's I am experiencing XYZ emotions. Or sometimes it's just like I am sitting on my bed crying or whatever is happening at the moment. So right now, I am worrying about my future and my finances. Everything's fine. I'm not in debt or anything, but just worrying about those things. Um, Also, someone I love isn't feeling great. And let's see, feeling great. And I feel helpless in the situation. All right. So that's what's currently happening. In actuality, I'm sitting at my computer typing into a phone. That's what's really happening. And when I think about it that way, it's like nothing's wrong with me right now. But that's what's going on in my head, right? So next, I get to select both positive and negative emotions that I'm currently experiencing. I always try to look through the list for both. One, because it shows me that the two can coexist. I can feel shitty and optimistic at the same time, right? Or secure and nervous at the same time. So I'm going to go, because I know overwhelmingly I'm feeling more towards the negative side, I'm going to start with the positive emotions. So do I feel bold right now? No. I feel relatively calm, even though I'm stressing. I feel about 50% calm. Cheerful, confident, content, eager, ecstatic, energized, engaged, enthusiastic, excited. I am very grateful right now, even though there are some things that I would like to work through. Thinking about the things I'd like to work through, they're all because of amazing things that I can afford to buy and put in my life. So, adding new responsibilities, but also the fact that I can take on these responsibilities, I'm grateful for that. Happy, humorous, inspired, joyful, lively, loving, motivated, optimistic. I am slightly optimistic. Not as optimistic as I usually am, but I would say 20%. I know it can't get worse. So that's a form of optimism. Passionate, peaceful, playful, proud, reassured, refreshed, relaxed, relieved, satisfied, secure, surprised, thrilled, and wonderful. So those are all the positive emotions that this app allows me to express. And currently I'm feeling about 50% calm, 80% grateful, and 20% optimistic. Let's look through the negative emotions. I'm not afraid. I'm not angry. One thing that's fun to do with the negative emotion list, especially if you feel you're teetering closer to that, is to say what you're not feeling. And it makes you feel like, whoa, well, I'm not miserable and absolutely down and out. You know, sometimes I am, or I have been. I've experienced that state. But right now, I'm not afraid. I'm not angry. I'm a little annoyed. I would say I'm probably like 10% annoyed. I'm not really anxious. I feel slightly ashamed because I was explaining to my spouse that I made a choice today that was a should versus a must. So I made a realistic adult choice versus a choice that was, on my vision boards and that was on my goal sheet and that was in alignment with what felt like something that would take me, closer to purpose and fulfillment and joy. Like I chose the safe route. And so I feel a little, actually, I feel more than a little, I feel really ashamed about it because I asked a lot of people that I love for their advice on the situation. A lot of people, out of 6 people that I asked for, people gave me the advice to do the must, do the passion, do the thing that I was excited about. And I didn't. And I feel a little shitty about it. Actually, I'm probably about 60% ashamed. I feel not like I'm standing in my greatest self right now. I'm not bored. I'm not burnt out. I'm not confused. I'm not demoralized. I'm not depressed. I'm not disappointed. I'm not disgusted. I'm not distraught. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not empty. I'm not exhausted. I'm not frustrated. I'm not furious. I'm not guilty. Um, I felt a little insecure, maybe about 20% insecure. I'm not irritated. Um, mm. Now, one thing that's interesting in this app, when you look at these words, there could be words that you're like, oh, that emotion didn't even cross my mind. And when you read it, you feel something like there's a knot in your throat or you feel something welling up behind your eyes. I remember one time when I was doing this app and I think Don had been gone for like a week or something. And I was just like, I don't feel good. What is it? I'm doing all my personal growth exercise. What is it? I went through the list and I saw lonely. I just started bawling. I was like, I'm lonely. And then I started laughing because I was like, oh, all I need to do is, call someone or, go outside and just walk in the park and see some people. I'd been cooped up, feeling lonely, not even realizing it. So that just happened just now. When I looked at the app and saw jealous, I realized that those people that I asked advice for on making this should or must decision, they are all people who I look at and say they're living in their purpose. They're taking risks. They're making the somewhat foolish decision, but also feeling fulfilled at the end of the day. And I feel like I didn't get to make that choice. And obviously, that's not the case. I have the freedom, I have willpower to make whatever choice I choose. And I just didn't choose the fulfilling, fun, adventurous choice. And I feel a little jealous about it. I'm just like, dang, how come they get to live boldly and still be secure? And I made a secure choice and feel shitty about it. So I feel 100% jealous, to be quite honest. Like that feels really honest. I feel a lot of emotion surrounding that. So yeah, I'm feeling fucking jealous. And it happens sometimes. I'm cussing in this video. I'm not jittery. I'm not lethargic. I am a little tired, but not lethargic. I'm not lonely. Um, I am ever so slightly nervous because I made a big purchase today. So I would say 5% nervous. I'm not numb, resentful. I resent the decision I made. I know it's something that'll help me in the long run. Um, and yet I still have feelings like I wish I didn't do this. Like I wish I did the fun thing. I don't know. Sometimes being young, you're just like, yay, I want to be reckless. And I've not been reckless in my life. I err on the side of um, safety a lot of times. I have taken risks in my life. I won't say that I'm not a risk taker, but I don't feel 100% resentful. I feel like, and it's an interesting exercise to ask yourself, how much of this emotion are you feeling? Are you experiencing? Because I don't resent it that much, but I do have some feelings. So I would say maybe like 30%. I don't have buyer's remorse or anything. I'm actually not sad. Oftentimes, we categorize this whole range of emotions: frustration, fatigue, loneliness, jealousness, feeling furious. We categorize that all under sad or upset. And those aren't very descriptive words. I am not sad right now. I don't feel sad. So, not sad. Self-conscious. That gives me pause, but I feel like self-conscious and jealous go hand in hand, but I feel like it's more jealousy than I think I'm okay. Stressed. No, that's not it. Nothing is broken to the point where I'm like, oh, I gotta get some stuff repaired, not really stressed. Tired. Oh gosh, I'm so tired. I'm really tired. And sometimes figuring out things like that, I'm like, oh, easy solution. Go to bed earlier. Obviously, I'm late on bedtime today, per usual. Shouldn't say per usual. That's not my usual. I'm shifting that. But I am tired. I actually went to bed on time last night, but I woke up super early today. And worried. I am. The funny thing is, as I'm doing this, I realized I thought I was worried, but I'm really not. Like, there's nothing to be worried about. Pretty secure in everything that I need to take place. Just not able to really do that adventurous thing that I was talking about. So now, once you've gone through all those emotions, you can look back and see which feelings you said. So, feeling really calm and grateful and optimistic, but I'm also like a little annoyed and ashamed and insecure, jealous, nervous, resentful, and tired. And I can see which two are my overwhelming emotions by percentage, or three, I should say. So while I'm super grateful, I'm also super jealous and super tired, right? So when Moodnotes sees that you are either doing really well or doing really bad, it provides two different paths that you can follow. If you're doing really well, it'll allow you to go through an exercise that can either grow or sustain that positive mood. So it gives you some exercises that you can do. For example, since you're in such a great mood, think about some reasons that you're grateful for the things that you have, or try doing something nice for someone. But it gives you specific activities and prompts to do to sustain and grow that feeling, which is great because sometimes stuff is very like deficit oriented, and this app is uplifting even when you're doing okay. So I'm gonna check a thought. It says it looks like you're having some negative feelings. Why not check a thought? So, what went through your mind that contributed most to your negative feelings? So, my biggest negative feeling is the jealousy. And what went through my mind is I am not playing full out in my life. I'm playing it safe and may die being an average person. And it's funny knowing personally what this situation is based on. It's like, these are the thoughts and emotions that come from making a purchase like this. Like, what? Huh? But no self judgment, all self compassion. You are entitled to feel the way you feel, no matter what the situation is. So, yeah, the thought that's going through my mind is I'm not playing full out of my life. I'm playing it safe. I might die being an average person. Um, what else? I'm missing out on a once in a lifetime opportunity. What else? I I am mediocre in comparison to my friends, in comparison to my amazing friends. Um, yeah, that's really the root of my feeling. And it's funny, too, when you start to do an exercise like this, you have in mind what you think your emotion is or emotions are and why you feel that way. And then when you start to break it down and have to write it out, you realize, like, I thought I was upset about this, but I'm really, like, feeling another way. And it's for a whole different reason, right? Like, I would actually go back and look at the reason that I listed. I said I was worried about my future and my finances, and someone I love isn't feeling great. That has nothing to do with the moods that I just outlined, right? And that's why it's important for them to ask you, like, well, what thought is going through your head that's contributing to those emotions? Because you're like, I feel all these ways, but it's like, but the thought that's contributing to my emotions isn't why I set out to do this exercise in the first place, right? It's that what's happening in the moment is unrelated to these emotions. They're deeper oftentimes, which is it's good to know. Like, I'm working through these things that aren't just on the surface, right? Because this is more than just today. This is more than just this current wave of emotions that I'm experiencing. This is deeper rooted. I know this is something I talked about with that imposter syndrome video that I did a while back. Right? So that's what's going through my mind. I'm not playing full out in my life. I'm playing it safe and may die being an average person. I'm missing out on a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm mediocre in comparison to my amazing friends. So this is where all the money you invest in this app, those $5, you get your return on investment when you select your thinking traps. So I was not familiar with thinking traps prior to the Moodnotes app, and if you were, great, but I was not. And so thinking traps are essentially thought patterns or ways of approaching or thinking of your situation that get you trapped in this loop of negative emotions, right? So I'll read a few examples of them. So, catastrophizing, blowing things out of proportion, telling yourself that you won't be able to handle something, or viewing a tough situation as though it will never end, right? How many times do we do that? How many times do we look at something that's not going great now and say, my life is over, versus saying, oh, this is something that I'm dealing with right now. It will end. This too shall end. I know when I was younger, that was something I had a huge problem with. And my mother numerous times had to tell me, this too shall end. This too shall end. I know as a teenager, everything is a catastrophe. This boy doesn't love me. I'm never going to be married ever in my entire life. I'm going to die a lonely virgin, right? That's catastrophizing. Or intolerance of uncertainty. That's another one. Struggling to accept or tolerate things being uncertain or unknown. Like wondering, what if something bad happens, right? So I'm going to go through and look at these. I'm not going to go through every thinking trap because I really want you to check out the app and start to play with it yourself. But I know I'm thinking in all or nothing statements. I'm thinking that I'm either a success or a failure. I'm perfect or worthless. And in this situation, like, I'm thinking like, oh, because I made this choice, everything else about me and my life sucks. And that's not the case. And I consistently find myself, I spoke about this in my last video, thinking in black or white terms, or all or nothing thinking, or either or. But sometimes there can be win-wins or ands or boths. So who knows? I made this huge responsible decision today and invested some money in something that I really needed to sustain me on a normal everyday basis. But I may do some freelance work this month to be able to afford an amazing once in a lifetime experience, or something else may realign. Stars shift all the time. Sometimes you surrender and things fall in your lap. So I don't know. Um, which reminds me of another thinking trap that I'm experiencing, which is fortune telling, making negative predictions about the future. As far as like dying average, like taking, you know, one decision that I made and multiplying that out in infinitum to me dying average. Like, what the frick? I'm fortune telling. I'm doing a horrible job of it. I have enough vision boards and letters from the future self to know that I'll be pretty freaking phenomenal. Downplaying positives. The purchase that I made today is a freaking awesome purchase. I have amazing credit, over 800, if I do say so myself. There are a lot of positives that happened today, and this decision I made is something I said I wanted for a really long time, and I'll have it. It's a great thing. It's something to celebrate. I actually celebrated at Toast You. I'm downplaying that positive by focusing on some of these negative things, and I'm downplaying positives about myself, about my achievements and my qualities, in this act of comparison. Lisa Nichols says it all the time. I don't know if it's her quote, but she says comparison is the thief of all joy. And this comparison that I've been doing with, my friends, and because my friends are freaking phenomenal, and the people you surround yourself with, with, surround yourself by the people you put around you. They're a reflection of you. So if I'm surrounded by phenomenal, awesome people, one, I'm a phenomenal, awesome person. Two, comparing myself to them does not help. Three, bless that which you want. Refer to the last video. We all good. So stop downplaying the positives. Message, note to self. Stop downplaying the positives in yourself and in your life. Doing pretty freaking good. Let's see what else. A flip side to downplaying positives is negative filtering. So focusing only on the negatives and ignoring the positives in a situation. So let me differentiate the two for you. Downplaying positives is saying that the positive things don't count, or they're not really important. So like this big purchase I made, I was like, yeah, I did find out that I have an amazing credit score and make this huge purchase today. But that's nothing because I didn't do this really amazing thing I want to do. I'm downplaying this really positive, huge step that I made today. And then negative filtering is focusing only on the negatives. So I was doing both. I was downplaying the one positive, or not one, there's several positive things, but one of the huge positive things in my day, but then also was funneling my attention into these things I'm jealous about, or these feelings of inadequacy and being small, right? Not a good thing to do. And I talked about should or must in this video, but it doesn't apply to this thinking trap. So should or must in this app is treating your own standards or preferences as rules for how everyone else should be. So sometimes I noticed in the past, before getting this app and then using this app, to realize I was applying should thinking to everyone else in the world. Like, they should have done this, and why doesn't she do it like this? And it's typically she's. Why isn't she? If I were doing this, I would have done it like this, and she should have. And because she didn't, everything about my life is jacked. And it's really should or must thinking. I was thinking someone should operate in the way that I think they should because I operate a certain way. And that is not helpful, and it's not healthy. So that's the difference between should or must in this situation. It's really about how others, or how the world, or how things should be in your opinion. All right? So I'm going to save this. So I had 4 thinking traps that I was suffering from that got me to this emotional state. I was thinking all or nothing statements. So either I rock and I'm making all the best choices, or I suck and I'm just like average and boring and horrible. Like there's no middle ground. Like I could be phenomenal and make responsible choices, and other things could possibly align, and not thinking that way. I was fortune telling, so hardcore, based on a decision. I was downplaying the positives and some of the amazing things that happened today, and I was negatively filtering. I was focusing my attention only on the negatives and not even thinking about the positives. So, after doing this exercise, after thinking about all these thinking traps, the next step in mood notes is asking yourself, what's another way of thinking about this situation without traps? If I wasn't thinking in all or nothing thinking, how would I think about this situation? Or if I wasn't fortune telling, or if I wasn't downplaying my positives, or if I wasn't negative filtering, what's another way of thinking about the situation? And I'm going to shift the situation from that one that I initially wrote about to the one that was really at the core. The situation of feeling like I'm playing small in life, feeling like I'm not a phenomenal person compared to the people around me who gave me advice and make the more phenomenal choice. What's another way of thinking about it? I made a choice that empowers me by making my monthly bill smaller. The choice I made today was a necessary choice for security and empowers me to not empowers me, and is a necessary choice for security and has taken away some stress. My best friends are a reflection of me, so I must be pretty damn awesome. And then some thoughts on some of those things I wrote about earlier. Let's see, negative filtering, downplaying the positives. I may not always make the most adventurous choices, but I know, based on the self-work I've done, that I am destined to live a fully expanded, adventurous, and fulfilling life. Thank God for autocorrect. It allows me to just move my fingers and not really spell. So another way of thinking about this situation is I made a choice that empowers me by making my monthly bill smaller. I have more money to make decisions with. The choice I made today was a necessary choice for security, and it has taken away some stress. This is something I really needed to invest in. My best friends, who I was supposedly jealous of, are a reflection of me. So I must be pretty damn awesome. I may not always make the most adventurous choices, but I know, based on the self-work I've done and the work that I'm still doing, that I am destined to live a fully expanded, adventurous, and fulfilling life. That's another way of thinking about this exact same situation. Situation has not changed. Did not get in a time machine and change anything in my past. And I don't know if you can tell from watching this video, but I feel different right now. I feel way better. Like I said, the situation hasn't changed. I don't feel 100% perfect, but I definitely don't feel how I felt when I sat down to make this video. Which is why the last step in your mood note is to reassess your feelings. So you can ask yourself, now that you've modified your thinking, have your feelings changed at all? The intensity of them. They may not go away, but are you less sad or lonely or frustrated, whatever? Or are you more grateful, whatever? So I'm going to adjust the intensity of my emotions and be honest. Do I feel calm? I feel about the same amount of calm. I actually, one thing they don't have on this app, and I wish they would add, I might send this as feedback, is that you can add new positive emotions because I feel freaking excited right now. I'm like fired up. I'm like, I don't need to be this fired up. It's almost bedtime. I feel 100% grateful for the things I'm able to afford, for my amazing, inspiring friends. I feel 100% optimistic. Actually, being realistic, I feel 90% optimistic. I feel really excited about my future. And feel really good about this purchase that I made. I don't really feel annoyed, so that's gone. I still feel a little bit of shame, but nowhere near 60%. Maybe 20%. Do I feel insecure? No. Do I feel jealous? I'm not gonna lie. I still feel like I need to work on that some more, but I'm not 100% jealous. I would say 55, 60. I don't like odd numbers, so that's why 60, but in honesty at 55. Am I nervous? No, I don't even know why I literally can't remember why I was nervous to begin with. I will have to rewatch this video if I set a reason for it. Resentful? No. No. Again, it's about 5%, but I just have a weird thing with odd numbers. So I'm going to put 10. Tired? I'm so awake right now. It's ridiculous. I need to go to bed soon. So yeah, that is where I am. So once I hit save, it'll show me the shifts in my emotional state. So doing my mood note made me 20% more grateful, 70% more optimistic. It made me 10% less annoyed to the point where I'm not annoyed at all. It made me 40% less ashamed, which who could benefit from being 40% less ashamed? Everybody. It eradicated my feelings of being insecure. It made me 40% less jealous. Maybe 5% less nervous, so got rid of my nervousness, wherever that was about. 20% less resentful, and eradicated my feelings of being tired. And I'm done. And the app still doesn't stop there. It gives suggestions. So, for example, my all or nothing thinking. Remember that describing people or events in all or nothing terms is rarely accurate. When we think and feel in such extremes, we tend to feel in extremes as well. So instead of, feeling that and describing them in those ways, recognize that there is usually a middle ground, which I did in doing this app. For fortune telling, something to keep in mind. Be careful not to react to a possible negative outcome as if it is likely to occur. Just because you feel like something may occur doesn't mean it will. Distinguish between what could happen from what is likely to happen, which, to be quite honest, is highly unlikely that I will die average. I haven't been average since I was born. Like I said in that other video, my first word was like, I'm not going to die average. Even if I died today, I wouldn't die average. And then it says, wait to see how things turn out instead of predicting negative outcomes that may never occur. Downplaying positives. Some downplay their positive qualities for fear that they would otherwise appear arrogant or conceited. Consider whether quietly acknowledging your strengths and accomplishments, even if only to yourself, will really create this impression. And then lastly, for negative filtering, try getting some distance from your usual perspective by imagining how you might tell a close friend to think about those things. And this is actually a really good tip. This was something that I was doing when I was doing video journaling consistently. And it wasn't YouTube. It was just journaling for myself. I would do similar to what I'm doing with you guys, but just more elongated, talking to myself. And giving myself advice. It was super helpful. Sometimes you forget the wisdom that you hold within you. The perspective that you hold. Like, your greatest version of yourself is in you right now. You may not be tapping into it or may not even realize that you have access to that. But you and your greatest version of yourself are one and the same. And so giving advice to self, either from an ideal future self like I mentioned in that video about writing letters from my future self, or just from your current self, just giving your advice but framing it for a friend, could help you to get through some of that negative filtering. So that's it. And if I were to choose a face right now, to be quite honest, happy right now. It's so bizarre. So bizarre. And that's why I love this app. Mood Notes really does. And I'll be honest, every time I finish this, I don't feel overjoyed every single time. But I've not done this exercise, not used this app and not felt remotely better. I've not had an experience where nothing shifted. Because sometimes emotions aren't tied to productivity. And this app makes me, at least, productive about my emotional state. So one last thing that I want to share about this, because I know this video is getting really long, is the insights and mood trends data that you can use for this app. So they have a few different sayings in this side menu, but insights is my favorite. I remember before they even implemented this on the app, and I was using, before they only had mood trends, so you could just see, like, from a date perspective, where you were with different things, which is helpful to see, like, on this day I was here or whatever. But I'm not using this app all the time. I'm using it when I'm trying to process through either really high points or relatively low points. So I don't do it every day. But the insights gives you an overall view of your emotional state. You can do it for 1 week. You can do it for 3 months. You can do it for 6 months or for all time. So this date range is actually old because I had the app on a prior phone. And so this says, or maybe, I feel like I've been using this longer than over a year, because it says from April 9th of last year to June of this year. Oh my God, it's June already. But anywho, you can see here that I've had 56 entries with this app. So throughout the year, 56. It's like one a week on average. Even though I'm not doing it every week. And then it shows how many I've rethought. And then how many streaks I've had. So you can see what percentage, how many entries were feeling in different modes. I can see what my, average emotional state is. Then I can see my top thinking traps and start to work on reshifting the way I'm looking at my world or looking at situations. Intolerance of uncertainty is a huge one for me. Not knowing how things will pan out and being stressed about it, even though I will never know how things pan out because I don't have a time machine. I can't move forward or backwards, right? But the cool thing too is that it shows you how you usually feel. So even though you experience this whole range of emotions, it can summarize for you how you usually feel. And it always feels good for me to look at this and realize, like, even though I've had my share of feeling crappy, I'm typically grateful and calm and optimistic, happy, content, relaxed, secure, and loving. Like, that is more of my normal state than these particular situations would have me to believe or feel. So that is Mood Notes. Like I said, I highly recommend this app. I don't know if you can tell from this video, but for me, it works really rapidly in shifting my mood and perspective. Hopefully you found this nourishing or educational, mind, body, or soul. And remember that change is inevitable, but growth is a choice. My name is Brandi Keeler, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.